are in your program, so I'm going to skip them so we can talk a little bit longer. So, the first question really goes to Anjali. So the state shut down. What happened? Because these people were busy making money and starting companies and investing in things. And so 30 seconds on what's the impact, what do we think it is, what did it feel like, did you sleep on a hard marble floor in Trenton, what does that mean?
Thankfully, no, I didn't. I made sure to be selfish and go back home and sleep. And you're asking me to condense 3 days worth of drama in 30 seconds, but I'll try. The state shut down over what essentially boils down to a political battle over the governor wanting to only pass the state budget if he got a couple of things that he wanted out of the House leaders. And so when he didn't get it, the government just shut down. The budget wasn't passed, and we all waited patiently until that happened.
And so was there any impact on innovators, on entrepreneurs, creators? Did we see, anything as a result? And what does that mean when the government shuts down for folks in this room?
For folks in this room, not much, to be quite honest. For a couple of reasons. One, because of when it happened. It happened over July 4th weekend when a lot of people were either on vacation themselves or just, busy doing the day-to-day. I know that, we talked about how for someone, who's involved with Uber, the DMV being shut down, that's kind of a problem, and that was shut down. But a lot of services were kept open. I think even the EDA was left open during that time. So there wasn't that much of an impact to businesses. It was just government services, the parks, and it seems like even the local economies didn't necessarily hurt as much as well, just based off of that, because a lot of the businesses were still left open, the public beaches were left open, the municipalities were unaffected. So it seems like had it gone on for longer, probably would have eventually seen some kind of impact. I know like even the casinos were pending, a shutdown at the end of that week. So had it gone on for longer, probably, but we were lucky.
So Jean, following up on that, what do your readers say that they're actually looking for from you, besides staying out of the way?
Oh, that was my answer?
I knew that was your answer.
Well, they have a dream list that every entrepreneur who starts a company wants money. And so they start off thinking that venture capital or angel investors are going to come in. But they also want to know if there are any grants that come out of government. And so on the federal level, we have the SBIR grants, especially for the technology companies. But then they start looking at the state government. And what I have found is that a large percentage of the entrepreneurs need to be educated about the programs that exist in their own state. So the fundamental question for an entrepreneur starting up is, where is the money? And from that point forward, they labor through the startup of their business until sometimes they get themselves in a corner. And I wrote an article just recently, I haven't published it, and I published it, about saying that in the startup plan for a business, the entrepreneur should first explore where the money is. They launch first and then spend the time educating themselves when it's too late. And they should do it in reverse order.
Great. So Michael, you've been covering business and the economy since 1999. How have you seen the technology ecosystem in New Jersey change? And what do you attribute that change to?
I'm Michael Lyman, I work for the Asbury Park Press. And I really only started covering technology in the past few years because coming out of the recession, we started to figure out that New Jersey was not recovering as fast as the rest of the country. And the question became, what is going on here? We used to be this innovation hub with Bell Labs. All the big innovations came out of here. We're in deep trouble. These are high-paying, highly skilled jobs. So it seemed like when we started looking into it, a couple things were happening. One, of course, was Atlantic City, which was kind of a story in itself, and the other was Superstorm Sandy a couple years later. And then after that, we figured out that we're kind of running into this demographic problem where millennials, 20s and 30s somethings who had flooded our area in Monmouth County in the 50s and 60s were doing a reverse migration and going back to the cities, and the companies were following them there. So we, after the internet bubble burst, we were basically pick up the pieces. I mean, Lucent sold to Alcatel. They closed the Bell Labs building, and that was in 2007. And we were just kind of searching for any little spark that we could find. And it's probably been 4 years now since I started more closely covering the industry, and it seems like there was some pretty hopeful signs.
Well, that's a perfect way to segment into Esther. Esther, I'm curious, since you cover New Jersey specifically and the tech sector specifically, what are some of the best success stories that you're hearing? Those diamond in the roughs, those gyms that speak to that coverage, that innovation, that experience.
Right, well, I think that in the tech entrepreneurship area, we could talk about jet.com, which flared and sold for $3.6 billion out in Hoboken. But in the biggest story, I think that for me is the resurgence of Newark in the tech community. Newark is attracting a lot of companies to move there, and a lot of they're starting with Newark Venture Partners has started there, and they do an accelerator. But it all started with the community. And I remember going to a tech meetup 5 years ago in Newark, and there were only 5 people. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I went to Newark Venture Partners demo day, and they had filled an entire portion of the Prudential Center. So you can see that there's been a resurgence of tech in Newark. And of course, the fact that NJIT is there is also very helpful, that Rutgers Business School is there, and they do a lot with entrepreneurship. There's a lot going on, and I think the resurgence in Newark is a big story.
Okay, great. So also, if you want to join this conversation, hashtag annual meeting and at NJ Tech Council. So to open it up broadly, what other things are you guys thinking that are positive or negative that are happening in the tech ecosystem in New Jersey? That's an open-ended question for anyone.
So I think the biggest change that has occurred, say, over the last 5 to 7 years is sort of building off what Esther said, that the accelerators, the co-working spaces, the incubators began to pop up, and they began to hone in on very specific geographies in the state. And so you have a co-working space down in Asbury Park and Jersey City, Hoboken, and so what is really admirable about what was going on is that these people who were organizing these co-working spaces or even the meetups, I consider them the risk takers who looked at the overall state ecosystem, saw what was happening in other states, and said, let's not be left behind. And so when you look at the state as a whole, the state has changed quite a bit, and it has kept pace with other states. So I guess the one plug is, so my website is AmericanEntrepreneurship.com, and it started originally 10 years ago as a website just for New Jersey entrepreneurship. And so as a serial entrepreneur, I felt the best way to sustain the model is to build out the ecosystems of all 50 states. And so I have the sort of pleasure and the challenge now of learning about the other ecosystems around the country. And that has been very informative to me to find out they all do it a little bit differently, creatively, and the states can learn from each other, as they look across at the other guy.
Jean, whose butts are we kicking and who's kicking our butts?
That's a tough one.
We'll come back to
Okay, well, I would just say that on the innovation side, I just read a study